numbers and, or they pull it after the fact, will we be able to go back and get that back from the Board of Ed if it is ultimately delayed, I mean, real delay?
Yeah, I was wondering that too.
And, you know, put on the brakes and let's
Well,
really think about this. Can we get that money back?
what I'm hoping is that perhaps we can do it a couple of different ways. You know, we can maybe allocate it in a side account, appropriate account.
That's what I'm
Do
thinking.
think outside the
Because
box a
if we put it
little
in
bit.
their
Just
budget,
put
it's
it
gonna be very
somewhere else.
difficult. Right.
Say if you have to use it, you know, here it is, let everybody know what it is, so it's a Board of Ed expense, but, and I don't know if you can do that. I'm just thinking out loud. That perhaps a contingency fund, as my smarter colleague indicates here. So there are ways to do it, but I think the short session this year too,
All right.
which is another consideration.
Yep.
So they're done in April, our process
But
is
it's
done
also
in May.
election year.
Yeah, and it's also election year, so
Yeah.
everybody's not gonna be, you know, they're not gonna be happy about having unhappy voters remembering these types of issues, so.
Right. The educational cost sharing, does it look like we're gonna get an increase, or are you,
It looked to me, the original note, I gave you a copy of that today, the original came in, educational cost sharing is flat, based on the governor's presentation on February 5th. And he is the opening salvo, there's a lot of things that happen. That's a flat cost, the pilot program that we get in the municipality has been proposed to be reduced $83,000 by the governor's budget. So I'm hoping that'll be reinstated as they work its way through the process. And there are other numbers that, in revenues that are down a little bit. But there are some flexibility added this year with Town Aid Road, so I'm not sure really what the end
Okay.
is. But the opening salvo was an even ECS and 83,000 less on the pilot.
okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for the first selectman? Thank you. Anna?
Good evening. You received your reports along with the monthly narrative in your packages. Does anyone have any questions?
One? Anna, I don't know how comfortable you are speaking about the Board of Ed budget.
But remember that Board of Ed budget is the superintendent's proposed.
No, she's talking,
Oh, the
also,
expenditures? Oh,
also in the
excuse me.
package,
Forgive me.
That's okay.
they had the Board of Eds, and this is actually only through December.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand, and maybe you know and maybe you don't. On the purchase services, let's see, what page would this be? 3. For pupil services, line item 37.
Okay,
You can help me out here, but we've expended our budget. We're 20%.
well,
In the hole?
well, he's showing, they're showing, year-to-date expenditures at 241,000. They have 215 encumbered.
Right.
And that they will be over budget
They
by
were-
78,000. But he also stated that they're expecting to be able to, at this point, cover where they're a little over in other areas where they'll be under. So they're expecting to be able to meet their needs at this point in time.
So this, I think I understand this, but this encumbrance is projected for the end of the fiscal year?
Correct.
Okay. Do we know what pupil services is? Sounds like somewhat of a nebulous term.
You know, I would be,
If you go
I
to your
can
last
follow up
year's
on that.
budget book from the school,
Yeah, they break it all out.
they break it out by number. So if you look down object number, you could tell what that is.
Okay,
Under the
great.
object number. Any other questions for the Director of Finance?
Do you have anything you're concerned about you want to let us know?
not at this point.
Great, thanks.
I do have a couple. On this sheet, Anna,
Yes.
page 9, if I look at police overtime, and on page 10, if I look at dispatch overtime, police overtime, we've spent 78% of the budget, and dispatch overtime, we've spent 84% of the budget. Just something to keep our eye on.
Yes, I did, I did have communication with Mr. Morris on that.
How'd that go?
No comment.
Well, I-
That's part of the new procedure about full-time dispatchers getting the overtime first instead of used to go through a rotation. So now you're seeing them taking that overtime at a higher rate of pay. It wasn't budgeted for. So we're monitoring that.
Okay. Any other questions for Anna? Thank you. New business. Item A, special appropriations, $15,000 for Playscape at Brybrook. Mr. First Selectman.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, this item is just one of those things that fell through the cracks. This was an item that was approved at the Board of Selectmen, the Board of Finance, and the town meeting process last year. It was to have been encumbered by year end last fiscal year to carry it over to build in the summer. For some reason, it didn't happen, so we must go through the authorization process again. The Board of Selectmen passed it at their last meeting. We ask for your support, and this will be at the town meeting that we propose to have on March 19th. Any questions? Mr. Putnam is here to answer any specific questions you may have on this. The project doesn't change, it's just a reallocation that we have to do.
So because it wasn't encumbered, the money went into the fund balance, assuming, so now we're just,
Just taking it back
Taking it
out,
out.
putting it
Yep.
where we
problem.
decided it should go in the first place.
If you could clarify for me, please, that $15,000 we approved to go towards the playscape in lieu of not funding the skateboard park, correct? There was $15,000 that was set aside for a skateboard park, in which we couldn't get funding for. And so back in June, the Board of Finance, well, the Board of Selectmen and then the Board of Finance said, yes, you can have that $15,000 to upgrade the playscape. Were the funds ever transferred out at that point?
No, they weren't used because it wasn't built.
So
So it was, they hadn't been allocated, so they actually never left their
they
safe
never left.
haven, even though they were approved, and then June 30th, the fiscal year ended.
So was that part of the 600 some odd thousand dollars that was returned at the end of the year?
yes. It would have
Okay.
been.
So where is this money, if we approve this now, where is it coming from?
Undesignated fund balance.
Okay, and how much is in there?
$4,925,000.
Are those funds earmarked for various projects?
No.
That's undesignated.
Undesignated, but
yes.
there's nothing in the works that, we're targeting for that?
We would typically, try to stay away from doing any undesignated fund balance appropriations during the
We're
year.
trying to keep it at a certain
And-
percentage for
Yeah,
And
that's-
then
our
the other piece
bonding
is,
ability and our rating.
the other piece is that we do include contingency in our operating budget so that we do
Don't
not
go
go
to
that route. However, in this situation, we're doing the recommendation this way because it was something that was remaining from last year's budget.
Mhm. Yep, understood, thank you.
Good question, Camille.
Thank you, Lisa.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve a special appropriation in the amount of $15,000 from undesignated fund balance for the purchase of a playscape at Samuel Peretz Park at Brybrook.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second,
Motion and a second, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 5-0. Budget review schedule. If you look at the 12th, that'll be a joint presentation from the First Selectman and the Board of Education to present the budgets to us.
oh, so that, on the regular meeting, we're gonna have the Board of Ed too?
Yes,
Okay.
they're gonna,
I think we're gonna request, I mean, it'd be up to the Board of Education whether they,
yeah, we're gonna ask the Board of Education to present the budget
Okay.
at the same time the Board of Selectmen does.
Unfortunately, I'm unable to make meetings March 17th and 20th. I'll be on vacation.
If you have any particular points, just forward them to me and
I
I'll
will,
bring them
I
up.
just wanted to let you know, because we won't be whole. I know everyone will be sad.
We'll be happy for you,
Thanks.
you're on vacation.
Anybody
We're
else?
gonna be given the green budgets on that date, on the 17th, so.
Beautiful.
Anybody else have any problems with the dates as shown? Okay? I don't need a motion to,
Ki-
nah.
Could I just ask, do we know what the location is for the March 12th meeting? Will it be here? If it's a-
Yes.
If it's a joint meeting, it'll be here?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
And please note that some of the meetings, many of the meetings are at 6:30 instead of 7 o'clock. Old business, I know of no old business. Public discussion, anybody from the public? Seeing none. Board comments, any board comments? I do have one, Anna. At the end of last fiscal year, you gave us this, that shows remaining money as of 6/30/13 from each department.
Okay.
Could the board have
Projected?
the last 3 years to look at that?
Also, you may want to note that that's not updated,
Right,
right? That $700,000 figure is more like six something.
Yeah.
So, I'll-
that's why I wanted to
And-
find those for the last 3.
And I know we couldn't have an idea of this year, but I think it's a good historical trend to look at. If I could get the year from last year too.
Any other board comments? Consider a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.